Let's talk about some of the foreign policy challenges for the U.S. tonight. We welcome in former Secretary of State, former CIA Director Mike Pompeo. He is the author of the new book, Never Give an Inch, Fighting for the America I Love. Mr. Secretary, thanks for the time.
Brett, great to be with you this evening.
Congrats on the book.
I
wanted to start by talking to you a little bit about some of the breaking news over the weekend. We have reports that perhaps Iran used drones for a facility, the Isfahan facility, where that city is known for making missiles and nuclear weapons in Iran, nuclear material, I should say. Your thoughts on that as we get to a very tense time in the world, not only with China, but still with Iran in the Middle East?
Brett, make no mistake about it. I know the facility in Isfahan fairly well. I don't know for sure who conducted the strike. The whole world seems to think it was Israel. But importantly, if they took down the capacity for the Iranians to continue to build out their nuclear program, including their weapons program, or if they were able to successfully set back at least a little bit the capacity of the Iranians to build these unmanned vehicles, these drones, the very drones that are being used to kill Ukrainian civilians, it would be a good thing. The world would be a safer place as a result of what transpired.
Your administration under President Trump and you as Secretary of State pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal. The Biden administration was trying to restart that, but does not seem to have worked. Where do you think that is? You've always been, all the way back to the House Intel Committee, concerned about Iran's ambitions.
Brett, we know they're the world's largest state sponsor for terror. That's fact one. Second, we know that the regime, the Ayatollah, now Raisi, the butcher of Tehran, we know that these are folks who want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. They're happy to come after America next. We know that they're trying to strike Americans here at home. We saw that there were 3 folks indicted, arrested here in the United States for trying to kill an American civilian. These are bad actors, Brett. And our mission set in the Trump administration was to deny them wealth and resources, to reduce both their capacity to commit terror and to do the hard work, the work of the research and development of their weapons program.
I want to turn your attention to the Far East. We've talked a lot about China, you and I, over the months, but something raised eyebrows this weekend. Air Force General predicts war with China in 2025, tells officers to prep by firing a clip at a target and aim for the head. I hope I'm wrong. My gut tells me we will fight in 2025, General Mike Minahan said in a memo to officers he commands obtained by NBC News. Do you think we're going to some kind of physical battle with China next 2 years?
Well, Brett, I take General Minahan to be serious in the sense of he's clearly very concerned that we're not doing enough to prepare to deter the Chinese Communist Party. I think that's what he was really getting at. It's hard to put timelines on any of these things. He says 2025. But make no mistake about it, Xi Jinping is watching for American weakness. He's watching for an absence of resolve. And if he sees opportunity, he will seize that very opportunity.
You talk a lot about foreign policy successes and what the Trump administration and your job as Secretary of State was trying to do. What about ones that you were not that happy about? There's a picture of you with Taliban co-founder Abdul Ghani Baradar, and Politico writes it this way: Mike Pompeo takes his own arrows over the Afghanistan collapse. It's the type of image that could dot and complicate future election bids should he choose to make one. Pompeo's involvement in the deal, the Taliban deal, has now drawn criticism from Republicans and has given a preview of how Afghanistan could complicate the political ambitions of those on both sides of the aisle. Is your response to that and the Taliban deal in general?
Oh, goodness, Brett, it's not about politics, anyone's political life. We were trying to deliver the outcome President Trump had promised the American people. We were trying to get every American soldier home. We weren't successful at that. President Trump wanted out. Nobody needs to doubt that. I wanted to get everyone home, too. But we couldn't do it. We could not go to the president and tell the president we can get everybody out and still solve the problem set, right? Not just getting our soldiers home, but doing so in a way that respected 20 years of work. Doing so in a way, frankly, that got every American out and didn't get 13 Americans killed. And so I've heard people say, well, gosh, it was the deal that caused the collapse. No, the deal was caused by President Biden. He made a political decision to withdraw the last 2,500 Americans. It was the last stick in the Jenga pile. We didn't do it on our watch. He did it on his. We had relative Afghan security there for the entire time as we drew down from 15,000 to 2,500. And to somehow say that the Biden administration was bound by the agreements of the Trump administration would suggest that was the only thing we did that they felt remotely bound by.
Now, I've heard you talk about your decision-making, and you and your wife, Susan, you say will pray on it and make a decision sometime soon about possibly running for president. In the book, you do talk about the former UN ambassador, U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, and possibly that she was angling to become vice president. I want you to react to what she said in an interview that we had and asked her about the book. Take a listen.
I never had a conversation with Jared, Ivanka, or the president about the vice presidentship. And, you know, what I'll tell you is it's really sad when you're having to go out there and put lies and gossip to sell a book. I mean, I don't know, why he said it, but that's exactly why I stayed out of D.C. as much as possible, to get away from the drama and get away from the gossip.
So I wanted to get you to respond to that.
I'll just say this. This isn't about me or Ambassador Haley. This is about America. There were a bunch of us who were told, you should leave everything that President Trump turns to dust, right, to go get out. I never thought about leaving for 1 second, Bret, not for an individual moment. Those of us who had important positions and had this incredible blessing to serve the United States of America, like Ambassador Haley says she did, she didn't hang in there. The turnover in the Trump administration was staggeringly difficult to manage. I had, a handful of secretaries of defense, a handful of national security advisors while I was CI director and Secretary of State. Ambassador Haley made a different decision. She can articulate what that was. But it was important work, and I am proud that I continued to stay the course. And those of us who stayed that whole time, I think, did really good service to America.
And you stick by everything in the book.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There's others who's confirmed it. Chief Kelly told me that's what happened. That's what I wrote about.
Secretary Pompeo, we appreciate your time, and good luck with the book.
Bret, thank you, sir. Have a good evening.